What's up, Leafs Nation? Welcome back to another game preview. I'm Zack Phillips, and today we're going to be taking a look at game number 46 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they take on the New Jersey Devils here tonight. Yes, the return of Sheldon Keefe. We'll dig into the lines, some injury news that we've got. We'll get into our best bet and a whole lot more, all in today's game preview, a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account, Bet365 today, and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, all caps, NATION, code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. All right, let's start as we normally do here with our lineups for today, what we've got on the docket, because we did get some injury news, which I'll start there before we pull up the daily faceoff screen. Yesterday, during practicing the power play, to be specific, John Tavares goes down with an injury and is now placed on injured reserve. How leafy is that? We had gone so long without these leafy things going on, and now all of a sudden in this slump that the Leafs are on, we're right back in the mix, and we're right back to leafy things happening on a regular basis. The power play that everyone has been losing their minds on has now put John Tavares on the injury reserve. Practicing the power play, put him on injured reserve. John Tavares goes out, and that means we're going to see a shakeup of the lines here tonight. So let's head on over to Daily Faceoff and see what we've got. And we're going to start with the first line there, where we see Matthews, Marner, and Matthew Knies reunited as your first line for the Maple Leafs here tonight. I mean, some of these lines, it's going to be hard. I don't have overly much to say when you're breaking some of this down. Matthews and Marner seem to play a couple of games together and look amazing, and then they go 5 to 8 games where it kind of dips and falls off, and we go, what the hell's going on? And we break them up, and you put them back together for a couple of games, and they're unbelievable, and then it falls off. It's very cyclical with these guys. It's like Nick Robertson. You put him in the press box, and he gets pissed off, and he comes back, and he scores. He's one of the best players on the ice. You can count on certain things to be going on with this Leafs team, and that's one of them right now. Matthew Knies obviously got swapped off that line over the last couple of games. You saw Pacioretty in there. We saw Bobby McMann in there. We've seen Steven Lorentz in there. We've seen a crazy combination of players rotating through that line. Tonight, it's going to be Matthew Knies who gets back to his first line spot. He's got to step up. He's got to be a lot better here with those guys, but those guys got to be a lot better too to help him out. He's a kid on an entry-level contract, and I know we got high expectations for him, but the other two guys, guess what? They're making over $20 million between the two of them. One of them wears the C. The other one's an alternate captain. They could get rocking. They could get going themselves without relying on Matthew Knies or their winger, I think. Max Pacioretty then moves back into the lineup, and he goes up to the second line there in the absence of John Tavares, while Max Domi replaces Johnny T at center, William Nylander over on the right wing. Nylander's a guy that I'm looking for to have a big night here tonight. A couple of things from this line that I would look for. First of all would be Max Pacioretty being extremely physical. Finish every goddamn check. Run guys through the glass. Do whatever you have to do. Be hard and heavy on the forecheck. Be physical, win battles, get to the net front, and cause problems. Because when we've seen Berube lose trust or faith in him and then put him back in the press box, those things in Pacioretty's game kind of seem to dip off a little bit and they lack, and then you see him sit out. So bring that back. Show that you can do that here. And I think he's a guy who should be in our top 6, especially when he's playing well. But when he's not, I get it. And I get why Berube looks at him and says, okay, you got to go to the press box. He's a guy who can score. He's a guy with a physical presence out there. If neither of those things are happening, then yeah, Berube's going to sit him down and say, hey, let's go. Let's get rocking here. We need to figure things out. He comes back in. He goes on the second line. And honestly, with where we're at with Domi playing on this second line, it's kind of interesting because he's a pure playmaker. Pure playmaker. He's going to be looking to find William Nylander all night. He's going to be looking to find Max Pacioretty all night. I don't mind a look on Max Pacioretty here either, but it's William Nylander that's going to be the focal point of these guys driving offense. He's going to be the one creating it. He's going to be the one probably capitalizing on a lot of opportunities. So interesting to see how they go. They could be a fast line, but a very engaged line, but it depends what Pacioretty you get, and it depends on what William Nylander you get, because if Nylander shows up and decides to take over, they could be unstoppable. If Pacioretty shows up and decides he's going to run people through the glass, they could be a complete and utter issue to deal with for the New Jersey Devils tonight, but it depends on who shows up. Third line, Bobby McMann, Pontus Holmberg, Nick Robertson. You're pretty much getting one of the line that we've had before. We had Max Domi on that one when you have injuries, and Matthews was out for that period of time, and Johnny T was moving up, and Max Domi was moving up. I like McMahon. I like Robertson. I'm not a fan of Holmberg, really, at this point. I've not been a fan of his game in the fourth line, let alone moving up to a third line spot, so we'll see how he's able to kind of handle things here. I mean, I keep waiting on this guy because I thought going into the year he was going to have a good season. I thought he'd continue to take a step forward. It's not really been the case. I've always wanted more out of him so far this season. It's not been there. We found himself in and out of the lineup, and Berube clearly has kind of lacked some trust in him as well. But hopefully he's able to find something in his game, especially with McMahon and Robertson tonight. They're going to need it. Dewar, Kampf, Lorentz, you get as your fourth line. Between Lorentz and Dewar, a little bit of an energy line. David Kampf is a guy who, to me, has been very vanilla. He's just kind of eating minutes, and sometimes that's okay, especially considering he kills penalties. That's okay, but that line, it's not like I'm demanding scoring out of them. I just want to see them going out there and, like, making your presence known. Like, make an impact out of your minutes. You go out there, it doesn't have to be scoring nonstop. Go out there and be running guys over, be physically a physical presence, make sure you impose your will on the other team, spend time in the offensive zone cycling, whatever it may be. Like, just get in there, get hard on them, and be tough to deal with. So those are your forward lines for the Leafs tonight. It's an interesting one with Johnny T going out. It kind of sets us back to the point where we were looking at before when Matthews is out, and we're all kind of sitting around going, what the hell is going on? But I don't know. How do you respond? Next man up mentality. Who's got it? Who doesn't? Going down to our defensemen now. Defense for tonight, we've got Morgan Rielly, Philippe Myers as your first pairing, Jake McCabe and Chris Tanev, your second pair, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Connor Timmins as your third pair. Most notable changes that we've got here tonight would be Jake McCabe coming back and Simone Benoit taking a seat tonight, going and sitting up in the press box. Rielly and Myers, first pairing. Myers has actually been really impressive to me. The other day, the game against... why am I blanking? The other day, the game against the Dallas Stars, he was one of the best defensemen on the ice. I thought he was all over it. He was engaged offensively. He was making things happen. He was just a force out there on the ice. Like, Philippe Myers was shooting the puck. He was jumping into the play. He was activating. He looked good. Playing with Morgan Rielly is always interesting because he's a guy who can be up and down. He can be a bit of a wild card, especially defensively. And his offense hasn't been there this year. Making the money that he does, that's not good enough. So we need him to step up. Jake McCabe coming back in here is an unbelievable addition for this Leafs team. Like, you talk about sneaky additions where you like, oh, go out and get some player. Bringing McCabe back off of injured reserve or just out of the stands is unbelievable for this team. It elevates their defensive play like you wouldn't even believe. And putting him with Chris Tanev is just a complete shutdown pairing. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson, I think, provides some stability to Connor Timmins that maybe Benoit didn't. It doesn't matter if OEL plays with Benoit or if he plays with Timmins. One way or the other, those guys get kind of locked in where everything can be easier for them because they're playing with OEL. Those are your defensive pairings. Tonight, what we're looking at for the power play with JT out, Nyes, Nylander, Marner, Matthews, and Morgan Rielly slots back in. So no more. It's just funny to even be talking about this at this point. No more 5-forward power play. Nyes, Nylander, Marner, Matthews, Morgan Rielly. It is what it is. Someone find a way to score. I don't even care. I don't care who it is. I don't care what happens, but those are your power play lines for tonight's game. So that's all we got for tonight's lineup. The other thing that I would just kind of point out here before we move to our best bet segment is looks like what we're going to get for goaltending on the other side is Jacob Markstrom, and for the Maple Leafs is Joseph Woll. That will be courtesy of Daily Faceoff, but this is a heavy workload for Joseph Woll. coming off a couple of games here where I don't think he looked unbelievable. I think he's kind of got to get that back in the right direction. Maybe tonight's a night, you're going against Sheldon Keefe, you're going against the New Jersey Devils. Maybe dials things in and gets it going. Knows Anthony Stolarz was skating, knows he's working his way back, and he's got to start to push a little bit to maybe solidify what he thinks could be his position as the starting goaltender for this Maple Leafs team. So looking for some more out of Joseph Woll tonight, but let's get to our best bet segment. And our best bet brought to you by Bet365. Proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. All caps, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Our best bet for tonight. Things have not been going so well for us here on the pregame show for our best bets. I believe we've now lost our last 9 in a row. It has been an absolute struggle for us so far in the season. We are down almost 4 units now. We got through like 40 games where we were pretty much at even or just above. And then now over the last 9 games. And honestly, if you look at this timeline, this is a timeline of the Leafs not playing well and having unpredictability in their game, which is quite unfortunate for us, especially when we're throwing out some of these long shots. I'm looking at like plus 145s, plus 625, plus 280s, plus 550, plus 210s, like all these being thrown out in there. And these are missing in the last little while. It's like, yeah, no wonder, because this Leafs team has gone like this, and the play from the Stars has gone like this, and we just getting Jekyll and Hyde performances from this team. But tonight, we're looking to change things, and we're looking to change things over on Bet365. We're going to head into the Devils and the Leafs game for tonight, and we're going to find ourselves looking at player props over on the Bet365 screen for this one. And our player props is where we've gone to pretty much the entire year, but we're going to head on over to the goal scorers section, and we're going to go to Old Reliable. Well, not so reliable if you look at the last 9 games body of work, but we're heading over to William Nylander, anytime goal, plus 210. $50 on this one, a half unit, profits you 105. Look, he made some comments the other day talking about, good teams find their way to get out of this. He's a guy who's on the hot seat right now. He's in the like driver's seat of, hey, that guy's got to be better. We've seen good games out of Marner. We've seen good games out of Matthews over this cold stretch, but we haven't really seen it out of William Nylander. Johnny T goes out. Guess what, buddy? All the pressure's on you. You're playing with Domi. You're playing with Pacioretty. You're the guy. Can you or can you not figure things out? Can you or can you not score goals for this team? And can you find a way to get out of this slump that you've been on, because you have not been very good recently? So William Nylander, there's some pressure on you tonight. And thankfully, though, Nylander seems like a guy to me who thrives under pressure. A guy who steps up and elevates his play and finds ways to get things done. So when I look at Nylander here tonight at plus 210, one of the highest numbers we've seen on this guy all season, I'm in. I'm in. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that this is not going to be a good bet here at plus 210. I don't care how the Devils play defensively. I don't care who's in net for this team. William Nylander is an elite goal scorer. He's one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. He found himself at the top of the goal scoring leaderboard for a majority of the beginning of the season and has fallen off here now with this bad stretch of hockey that he's been on. Snap out of it, guy. Snap out of it. It's time. Time for you to get going. $50, a half unit on William Nylander anytime, plus 210 is tonight's best bet. I appreciate everyone who has watched, tuned in here. If you did enjoy this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here, the Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure to hit that like button, retweet, reply below, comment on YouTube as well. Do you like the best bet? Do you think the Leafs are winning tonight? And I want to see your score predictions or your best bets as well. Look forward to reading all of those. I will be back following tonight's game against the New Jersey Devils, game number 46 of the Leafs regular season, to break it all down on another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark. Hopefully you all watched Morning Take this morning. Hopefully you all watched Stephen Brunt's interview of his part of his series Up Close with Adam Copeland. Make sure to check that out right here on this channel as well. The video is available. I will be back following tonight's game. See you all then. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.